Fanservice games. You might know a few of them like Xtreme Beach Volleyball for PS4, PC and the Switch. But it's also available on the PlayStation Vita. You can be like the guy from the world only God knows and play games in an epic way. And putting ecchi games aside, there are still a lot of cool games on this. Danganronpa, Persona, Final Fantasy, and many other great Japanese games are on this system. And additionally, you don't only have PS1 games but also PSP games on here too. And to be honest, anyone that has this thing lying around should hack it. Because not only do you have awesome games, but you can mod them, and you can add translation patches for them, and add uncensored stuff to it too. Last year I made a video about the games that got banned. Well, if you mod it, then you don't really have that problem, so you can pretty much dodge censorship completely. Also, Sony's gonna close the PSN store for both the Vita and the PlayStation. This means that after July, your only alternative is piracy. Or physical copies. And they also completely fucked this handheld because of silly overpriced memory cards. But after hacking it, you can buy an adapter for microSD cards and just use that for a memory thing. If you want, you can play the entirety of Final Fantasy 1, 2 and 3 and 4 thanks to the Vita's backwards compatibility with PSP. This 64 gig microSD card that's in here can hold a lot of games. And yeah, that's a lot of gigs of fan service. If you like imported games, you would like the Vita because it did way better there, so you have quite a few good games on there that never made it to the West. Also, it's quite nicely designed. I have here the fat model, which is, yeah, fat, but it has an OLED screen on here and like this back touchpad. Yeah, and at least it has 2 of the analog sticks, which was something that you really wanted from, you know, the PSP, which just had 1. And to be honest, the screen is actually still quite good, even compared to modern day, you know, smartphone standards, which is quite impressive for a device from 2012. As I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of awesome games on this system. Here are some of my picks. Now, Akiba's Trip is like an open world game where you can run around Akiba, and the combat system is pretty much ripping clothes off of vampires. You might remember back in 2017 they made a really bad anime adaptation out of it. But despite the kind of clunky combat system, it is quite interesting walking around this sort of open world environment, and you can actually enter real stores that you have in Japan. And it also makes quite a lot of like jokes about otaku culture and stuff, and it can be legit a bit funny. We all know the Dead or Alive series and its spin-off. Yeah, and some of you might know that number 3 is not available in the West, only in Asia. But luckily, the Asian version of the game does have an English option on it. My guess is that they did this not only so people can import them, but also for some other regions that probably speak English in Asia, like I'm guessing the Philippines or something. But it's quite a relaxing game. It's pretty much like a tropical island holiday, playing beach games, volleyball, butt battle, tug of war, mountain climbing, and you even have a casino. The music and the overall vibe of the game really put you in a relaxing mood. And the character models look actually quite good for a portable game console. This action beat 'em up is quite fun. I didn't play much into the game, but it's quite fun just jumping around and slashing the enemy's clothes off. It makes you feel like some pervert shinobi. If you check on VNDB, there are loads of games on the PSP and PS Vita visual novels out there. And luckily they also list and license adult and English patches, so now you can play hardcore eroge on the plane. And even without that, you can still play visual novels that came outside of Japan on the Vita. There are so many good games on this system. I probably missed quite a few ecchi games. To be honest, the non-ecchi games alone make the Vita quite an awesome system. It has games like Touch Me Katamari, Persona 4 Golden, and so much more. Someone even managed to load the entirety of GTA San Andreas on this thing. And the PSP backwards compatibility is quite cool. It makes it actually look like a PSP menu. Some games I played was Akiba's Trip 1, Afterburner Black Falcon, and Burnout Dominator. And some games aren't even that old at all. The last games that came out on the Vita were in 2012, and some indie devs were still developing games for it, until Sony out of nowhere pretty much pulled the plug. Overall, in some ways, I would say that the PS Vita is better than the PSP, especially after you hacked it. Again, if you have one lying around and it's not being used, at least try to hack it. Or try to at least look at some games that might be available on the system. I'm pretty sure there's something in there that might be interesting for you. So, I hope you guys like this video. Be sure to dominate the sub button, and I'll see you guys next time. Keep watching hentai.
Remember back in the days when it was acetate, Technics 1210 Mark